Welcome to the deep dive. We're tackling a really crucial topic today.
Absolutely.
How pregnant and breastfeeding women get the essential nutrients they need. You know, whether they're lacto-vegetarian, lacto-ovo, or non-vegetarian.
Right. And we've got this fantastic booklet as our guide. It's really packed.
Yeah, it looks great. Full of food sources, feeding advice, breastfeeding tips, the works.
Think of this as like your shortcut to the essentials for these really vital stages.
Okay. And you mentioned it's quite visual.
Exactly. It's got charts breaking down where to find, well, everything. Protein, omega-3s, all the key vitamins and minerals. It even highlights foods for things like healthy skin, hair, appetite, plus dietary plans, breastfeeding help.
Wow.
So our goal is to pull out those key nutritional insights for you, make it easy to grasp what really matters.
Great. Okay, let's unpack this, starting with protein. Seems fundamental.
Totally fundamental. And the booklet, yeah, it lists options for everyone. Vegetarians, non-vegetarians.
For the lacto or lacto-ovo folks, it lists the familiar stuff: milk, curd, cottage cheese.
But also a really interesting range of plant sources, like soya chunks, soya beans, horse gram, ground nuts.
Lots of pulses and millets too, especially sprouted ones.
Yeah. And mixed seeds, nuts and seeds powder, sprouted fenugreek, buckwheat. I mean, the variety is pretty eye-opening.
It is. And it really shows that, vegetarian diets can meet those protein demands with thoughtful choices, of course.
Right.
The emphasis seems to be on combining different plant proteins, mixed pulses, grains. That helps get the full range of amino acids, those protein building blocks.
Makes sense. Some plants might miss one or two blocks, so mixing helps.
Precisely. Ensures you get that complete profile.
And for those including animal products.
Well, the booklet lists eggs, organ meat, mutton, chicken, and a good selection of fish.
Which ones?
Salmon, hilsa, that's Indian herring, Bombay duck, mullet, anchovy, dry fish, other seafood, even fish eggs. So, yeah, plenty of choice there too.
Okay, so the main point is, whatever your diet, there are ways to get enough protein. Absolutely. Now, what about another vital one? Omega-3 fatty acids. Those good fats.
Right. Important stuff. The booklet mentions liver, squid, and fish again, salmon, hilsa, anchovy, tuna.
Animal sources?
But it's great to see vegetarian options too. Boiled egg yolk for lacto-ovo.
Good point.
And then scarlet beans, mustard seeds, flax seeds, walnuts.
Whole and split black gram, nuts and seeds powder, sprouted soybeans, garden cress seeds.
That's quite a range on the plant side.
It is. And things like flax seeds and walnuts are rich in ALA.
ALA.
Yeah, it's an omega-3 that our bodies can convert into other important ones. The conversion isn't always super efficient, maybe, but these plant sources are still really valuable, especially in vegetarian diets.
And omega-3s are just so critical for the baby's brain development, right?
Right.
During pregnancy and then lactation too.
Exactly. For both mother and baby. Okay, should we move on to minerals? There's a whole team of them.
Let's do it, starting with iron. Always hearing about that during pregnancy.
Absolutely critical. Need more for the increased blood volume.
So what are the sources?
Well, the familiar animal ones. Liver, mutton, eggs, fish. But look at the vegetarian list.
Okay.
Amaranth leaves, field beans, pumpkin leaves, soya chunks, lotus root, horse gram, whole lentils.
Wow.
Finger millet, pearl millet, amaranth seeds, garden cress seeds, and even turmeric powder.
Turmeric powder for iron. That's interesting. Okay, next up. Folate. Another powerhouse.
Crucial, especially for preventing neural tube defects early on.
So, sources.
For non-vegetarians, liver and egg yolk again, crab, tiger prawns, hilsa, Bombay duck.
And vegetarian.
Spinach, field beans, colocasia leaves, sprouted soybeans and moth beans, kidney beans, beetroot, capsicum, even fruits like papaya and mango.
So again, lots of variety. You can definitely get folate across different diets.
For sure. Then there's calcium. We all know that one, strong bones.
Right. Dairy's obvious.
Yeah, dairy products are prominent. Also crab, dry fish, Bombay duck for non-vegetarians.
And the plant-based list?
Amaranth leaves, fenugreek leaves, carrot, spinach, curry leaves, field beans, lady's finger, cluster beans, soya chunks.
Lots of greens and beans.
Yep. And finger millet, horse gram, sprouted moth beans, and gingerly seeds, sesame seeds.
So leafy greens and legumes really contribute.
They do. Now, it's worth just mentioning bioavailability here.
Okay, what's that?
It's basically how much of the nutrient your body can actually absorb and use.
Right.
Calcium from plants might sometimes be a bit lower in bioavailability than from dairy, but, eating a good variety of these plant foods helps make up for it.
Got it. Makes sense to eat a mix. Okay, moving on. Phosphorus. Also for bones.
Exactly. It works with calcium.
Yeah.
The booklet lists eggs, organ meat, liver, tuna, hilsa, milk, curd, cottage cheese,
And vegetarian.
things like drumstick leaves in powder, various millets, red gram, sprouted field beans and soybeans, buckwheat, kidney beans, amaranth seeds, split green gram. Again, mixing sources is key.
Okay. And magnesium, involved in lots of body functions, right?
Loads of them. We see amaranth and drumstick leaves again, spinach, field beans, cluster beans, lady's finger.
The greens are powerhouses.
They are. But also banana, custard apple, water chestnut, sprouted moth beans and soybeans, cowpea, split black gram, mixed seeds, finger millet, buckwheat.
Oh, interesting to see fruits like banana and custard apple listed there.
Yeah, shows it's not just in leafy greens. Okay, next. Zinc, immune system, cell growth.
Important stuff.
The booklet lists mutton, liver, boiled egg yolk, various seafoods, clams,
And for vegetarians.
cottage cheese, amaranth leaves again, water chestnut, cashew nuts, cowpea, sprouted soybeans, split Bengal gram, gingerly seeds, pearl millet, and mixed seeds.
Nuts and seeds seem good for zinc then.
Definitely stand out. And finally, for this mineral rundown, potassium.
For fluid balance, blood pressure.
Right, we're looking at colocasia leaves, spinach, mustard leaves, amaranth leaves, bathua leaves, potatoes, yam, lotus root.
Root veggies too.
Yep, and sprouted moth beans, soybeans, kidney beans, plus a great selection of fruits.
Yeah.
Banana, guava, peach, sapota, jackfruit. So plenty of fruits and veggies for potassium.
Okay, wow, that's a lot of minerals covered. Let's switch gears slightly. Amino acids. The booklet mentions methionine and cysteine specifically.
Yeah, these are sulfur-containing amino acids, essential building blocks.
Sources for methionine.
Dairy, lamb, mutton, eggs, chicken, fish like catla, rohu, tuna, prawns.
And vegetarian.
Bit different here. Onion, mango, sweet potato, amaranth leaves, bitter gourd, yam, scarlet beans.
Interesting. And cysteine.
Goat legs, mutton, liver, eggs, prawns, catla, rohu, dairy.
Okay, some overlap there.
Yeah, and then on the vegetarian side, pineapple, plum, raw papaya, yam, Indian plum, colocasia stem, tapioca, onion.
Fascinating to see the mix of sources for these protein components. Okay, vitamins now, starting with B12. That's often a big one for vegetarian diets.
Absolutely. And the booklet is clear. B12 is mainly in animal products. Organ meat, tuna, salmon, mackerel, shellfish, fish eggs, oysters, eggs, milk, curds.
Right.
For vegetarians, it does mention sprouted moth beans, homemade pickle, dried kokum. Well, the key thing here, especially for vegetarian moms, is that the amount and reliability of B12 from these plant sources, it can be really variable, often not enough.
So supplements or fortified foods are probably needed.
Often essential, yeah, to prevent deficiency in both mother and baby. That's a really
Yeah.
important point.
Definitely. Okay, next. Choline.
Vital for brain development. Sources listed are liver, eggs, prawns, fish like rohu, mackerel, squid, hilsa, salmon,
And vegetarian choline sources.
Indian gooseberry, mushroom, cauliflower, split black gram, whole lentils, sprouted field beans, and fenugreek seeds, even coriander powder. Good to see some diverse plant options there.
And vitamin C, the classic immunity booster.
Yep, all the usual suspects. Indian gooseberry, amla, fenugreek leaves, coriander, drumstick leaves, violet cabbage, Indian plum, capsicum, lemon juice, sweet lime, orange pulp, mango, papaya, strawberry, guava.
So lots of colorful fruits and veg.
That's the best way. Finally, vitamin A. For vision, immune function. Liver and eggs on the animal side. For vegetarians, lots of bright orange and green things. Fenugreek leaves, amaranth leaves, drumstick leaves, colocasia leaves, tomato, carrot, curry leaves,
And fruits.
papaya, mango, pumpkin, muskmelon, plus sprouted field beans, Bengal gram, whole green gram. These have beta-carotene, which our bodies convert to vitamin A.
Right. Okay, the booklet then groups some foods by purpose, like for healthy skin.
Yeah, it lists organ meat, mutton, fish, dry fish, eggs, dairy, drumstick leaves, flax seeds, kidney beans, sprouted beans, whole green gram, mushroom, gooseberry, guava, banana.
A well-nourished body shows on the skin, seems like.
Pretty much. Lots of antioxidants and good fats in those.
And healthy hair.
Similar list. Organ meat, mutton, fish, dry fish, eggs, dairy, drumstick leaves, then kidney beans, flax seeds, gingerly seeds, sunflower seeds, peanuts, mushroom, garlic, onion, guava.
Protein and minerals again, plus seeds.
Yeah, those seeds like flax, sesame, sunflower are packed with nutrients for hair.
And what about appetite? It can fluctuate during pregnancy?
Good point. The booklet lists appetite-increasing foods. Organ meat, fish, dry fish, eggs, curd, spinach, colocasia leaves, gooseberry, guava, sesame and sunflower seeds, flax seeds, kidney beans, finger millet, cowpea, sprouted moth beans.
That can be really helpful for managing those changes.
Definitely. Nutrient-dense options to help stimulate appetite.
And it also just lists a bunch of seeds.
Yeah. Muskmelon, sunflower, pumpkin, flax, watermelon, sesame, fennel, amaranth, basil, watercress, cumin. Just a reminder not to overlook seeds. They pack a punch.
Tiny but mighty.
Exactly. Healthy fats, fiber, vitamins, minerals.
Okay, let's get practical. Recommended daily diets. The booklet breaks it down for pregnant women, lacto-veg, lacto-ovo, non-veg. What stands out?
Well, what's interesting, the overall consistency, really. The main adjustments are just, for whether eggs or meat, fish are included.
Right.
For instance, the non-veg plan for pregnant women suggests slightly more milk and milk products,
Why is that?
likely to help make up for some of the protein and nutrients they'd otherwise get from more meat or fish compared to, say, a lacto-ovo diet.
Ah, okay, that makes sense. And for lactating mothers, similar breakdowns.
Similar breakdowns, yes, but generally increased amounts across many food groups compared to pregnancy.
Higher needs then.
Definitely. Lactation demands more nutritionally, more calories, protein, micronutrients for milk production. That's reflected in the higher recommendations. Especially for milk and milk products, they often suggest quite a jump there.
Right, good to know. Okay, shifting focus to after the baby arrives. Complementary feeding. Starting solids after 6 months.
Yes, the booklet covers frequency, quantity based on age, that sort of thing.
What's the approach?
It emphasizes starting gradually. Smooth homemade powders or soft foods first, then slowly introducing family foods.
And things to avoid.
Really important, this bit. Avoid honey for infants, risk of botulism. Also hard foods, obviously, choking hazards. And sugary, salty, or junk foods, very little nutritional value.
Okay, now a really critical area. Breastfeeding techniques. The booklet gets quite detailed.
Very.
Yeah.
This is fundamental for success. It describes holding the breast, usually a U-shaped support from underneath.
And the latch.
Crucial. Baby's mouth should be wide open, like 120 to 160 degrees. Lips positioned correctly, upper lip above the nipple, lower lip curled out at the edge of the areola, and the chin pressed firmly into the breast.
Those are specific cues.
Very helpful cues. It also covers other points. Emptying one breast fully before offering the other,
Why is that important?
to make sure the baby gets both the foremilk and the richer hindmilk.
Gotcha.
Also, recognizing signs of adequate feeding, burping the baby, ensuring the nose isn't blocked. It even details the mother's hand position for holding the baby thumb behind one ear bone, fingers behind the other.
And the baby's position.
Should be well aligned. Ear, shoulder, hip in a straight line, tummy pressed against mom's body.
Okay. And latching, again, taking in the areola, not just the nipple.
Exactly. Wide open mouth, curled lower lip, good mouth full of breast. It even suggests checking for a deep latch by gently pressing your breast near the baby's lower lip.
Useful tips. The booklet also mentions breastfeeding assessment. What's that about?
That's more for healthcare professionals, really. Checking the mother's knowledge, baby's position, the breast hold, the latch quality, and whether feeding seems effective. Just making sure things are on track.
Right, a professional check-in.
Exactly.
Yeah.
To spot any issues early.
And finally, growth monitoring. Using charts.
Yes. Weight for age, length for age charts. Using percentiles or Z-scores. It stresses tracking growth from birth to 2 years for boys and girls.
Regular checks are key then.
Absolutely. Regular weight checks, plotted on the chart during home visits or clinic appointments. It gives that visual record, helps spot any faltering growth early so you can intervene if needed.
Ensures the baby is thriving.
That's the goal.
Well, this has been, wow, an incredibly thorough deep dive. So much information in that booklet.
It really is a comprehensive resource.
From food sources for different diets, pregnancy, lactation, to starting solids, breastfeeding techniques, growth monitoring. We've covered a huge amount.
It highlights how much goes into supporting mother and child well-being during this time.
It does. And while this booklet gives a great foundation, like you said.
Yeah, individual needs vary. So getting personalized advice from healthcare professionals, always a good idea.
Definitely. Okay, so a final thought for you listening. Considering all these detailed recommendations, maybe all the minerals and vitamins we talked about, what's one surprising food source you heard today? Something you might add to your diet, or maybe suggest to someone you know?
It's always interesting what pops out when you look closely.
It really is. Thanks for joining us on the Deep Dive.